Joining us now, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Sir, congratulations to you, and thank you for giving us a little bit of your time here on this Saturday evening. Greatly appreciate it. I want to start with just getting your take on what we just witnessed, some of that video there, but also the comments from Acting U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, on this democratic action that we saw yesterday outside of the New Jersey ICE facility. Take a listen.
The reality of the situation is there are rapists, murderers in there. So this whole political points game, I'm really not in line with. And you got to just enforce the law. That's my job. If you break the law, it will be enforced no matter who you are.
Todd, I want to get your thoughts. Is it politics at play here? Are Democrats pulling stunts, essentially, showing their priorities are illegal immigrants over the safety of American citizens? And what charges could they potentially face? There is body cam footage here that can be looked at as well. Todd.
For sure. I very much agree with the U.S. Attorney, with Alina Habba and what she said. What happened yesterday was horrible. And the mayor going in, literally storming into a federal facility with detainees, many of whom are violent criminals, and then repeatedly ignoring multiple law enforcement officers asking him to leave. He had no right to be there. And you had congressmen as well, physically assaulting law enforcement. It was a horrible display. I feel terrible for our law enforcement officers who are working every day to keep this country safe, that they had to go through that. And this Department of Justice, General Bondi and I have talked multiple times. I've talked with the U.S. Attorney on multiple occasions since yesterday. What happened yesterday was a very sad day for this country, and we will respond in kind, for sure.
Todd, this is David Webb. Now, we know the DOJ has launched a criminal investigation into New York AG, Attorney General Letitia James, over alleged mortgage fraud, and she's being accused of listing as her primary residence, in violation of New York law, as being in Virginia, despite her being that elected official in New York. Now, she's blaming the whole thing on the Trump administration. Watch this.
This is nothing more than an extension of his revenge, his retribution, and he finally got up to the J's. I am not fearful. I am fearless.
So where does this case stand right now, and what kind of penalties could Letitia James face?
Look, obviously, I'm not going to comment on an ongoing criminal investigation. It wouldn't be proper for me to do so. I will say that the Attorney General of New York has literally spent her entire career going after the President of the United States and his entire family. So it's pretty ironic to hear the Attorney General comment on alleged misconduct in some of her mortgage, of the loans that she's received, when she has spent her entire career trying to destroy President Trump, and not only President Trump, but his children, his family, his business. And so, look, I'm not going to comment on the ongoing investigation to the extent that we are investigating, but it's my job as a Deputy Attorney General to make sure that we protect every single American and investigate crimes where they are. But as it relates to the Attorney General of New York, I have watched for several years what she has done to President Trump, to President Trump's children, to his business. She ran on a campaign saying, "I will go after President Trump," and then she did it. And so to hear her complain about what's going on right now is I mean, if you Google hypocrisy, I think you'll see a photo of her.
Todd, you're right, because we remember those campaign promises that she made, and we watched that case unfold, that civil fraud case, which is still on appeal. We all remember that well, so the irony here really cannot be understated. So great points there, Todd. This is Lydia Hu. Thanks for joining us. I want to ask you about the DEA, because the DEA this week made a huge, the biggest fentanyl bust in DEA history, seizing over 900 pounds of this illicit drug. And we know 6 of the 16 people arrested in the scheme are here in the United States illegally. So, Todd, the question we have is, Do we expect to see more busts just like this in the near future? And what can you tell us about the DOJ's efforts to fight drug trafficking?
Absolutely. And not only the DEA, all of our law enforcement partners, the DEA, the FBI, the Marshal Service, the ATF, DHS, we are fighting every single day, all day long, to get rid of the scourge of individuals that are bringing fentanyl, cocaine, all the drugs that are coming into this country. And it was just a tremendous success, a sad day, because those drugs are in this country, but a tremendous success by the DEA and a great job, as the Attorney General said last week. This was a big arrest. We had the ATF taking dozens and dozens of guns off the hands of illegal immigrants that shouldn't have them. We have the FBI every day making arrests. We're working with our DHS partners 7 days a week. And we had a lot of work to do, and I'm really proud of our law enforcement partners every single day going out and doing exactly what every American should want them to do, which is keep our communities safe. And so when you see an arrest like what we saw with the DEA, it's a reflection of hard work, but it's also a reflection of what we have to do and the work that we have ahead of us. President Trump has been crystal clear that we have to get drugs off the streets of our communities, our big cities, our rural communities, and that's what we're doing, and that's what the DEA is doing. That's what all of our law enforcement partners are doing. I'm very proud to stand with them every day as they do what they're doing. And so this was, we kept America safe by that arrest, but listen, the work is not done, and there's a lot of work left to do.
Todd, it's Tom Schiller. I want to get your take on this. Texas Senator John Cornyn says that the DOJ is opening an investigation into a Muslim-centric megacity being planned out for northern Texas. Cornyn says that, quote, religious discrimination and Sharia law has no place in his state. Todd, is the DOJ investigating this, and could the DOJ shut the city down?
Look, I will not comment on ongoing investigations. That wouldn't be appropriate. I agree with what the senator said as it relates to religious freedom and making sure that every citizen in this country feels safe. Look, I think that we've seen examples over the past several years of times where citizens of this country were not treated appropriately and not treated right, and every day, not only myself, but Attorney General Bondi, everybody that we work with, our full-time job is making sure that American citizens are safe, and so to the extent that there's challenges in Texas with what's happening there, of course we're going to take that very seriously. I'm not going to comment on any investigation that would not be appropriate, but rest assured that the Attorney General and I, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, are doing everything we can to make sure that every citizen in this country feels safe and secure and has the right to not only express their views, protected by the First Amendment, but also feel like they can walk around their communities without any risk of violence or persecution coming against them.
Todd Blanche, you have a big job. We greatly appreciate your insights. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.